Hello, welcome to this session. Thank you very much indeed for coming to TikTok, your way to book sales. We know you have a choice of sessions here at 20Books, like 15 other things going on at any one time, so I'm grateful. We've got lots to get through. This session's going to be pitched. If you're not on TikTok yet, maybe you've created an account, haven't got going on it, which I think is a lot of people. This session will tell you how to go about getting a presence on TikTok that will dovetail with what you want it to do, which is to sell your books and find your readers. If you're on TikTok, hopefully you'll get a lot out of this as well to steer you in that direction. A couple of things to mention first. We have drinks coming up tonight, so a TikTok meetup in Silver, I believe it is in Silver, and that's going to be at 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock tonight. So we're going to be in there, and Adam Beswick, who you'll meet in a moment in my presentation, is going to be there with me tonight. That's going to be the best place for questions. I won't have time in the 45 minutes to take questions, unfortunately, today. Who am I? I'm James Blatch. I'm the co-host of the Self-Publishing Show. Been going for a few years. I think we're at episode 370-something now. If you're interested in any subject to do with publishing, writing, you'll find something in our archive if you go to selfpublishingformula.com. We have a series of online courses. That's what Mark Dawson, I, and John Dyer do principally, provide these hopefully high-quality courses. We have 3 craft courses: How to Write a Bestseller, produced by the bestseller Susie K. Quinn. She talks about what the difference between a book that people can't stop turning the pages in the book that they do, what those tropes are and how you can include them in your book. How to revise your book with the brilliant editor Jenny Nash, take your first draft from good to great. And cover design for authors by Stuart BAe, who's my own cover designer, and at 2 o'clock this morning while I was asleep, book 3 cover dropped. And I want to show it off because isn't it? Oh, why is that not showing? Oh, what a show. Hang on, I know what I need to do. I need to move this that way. No, that way. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Obviously, I've had to point out that it's got a New Zealand kiwi on the tail, which we'll need to remove, but that's fine. And then we have 2 big courses. Launchpad, which is the 101 rebrand. That is the course for authors after you've written the end on your manuscript to build your mailing list. Whether you're going to go wide, exclusive, your domain, your website, and we handhold you through that entire process. And after that, there's Ads for Authors, which is the rocket fuel to your sales, how to run paid ads. Launchpad, by the way, is open now, and we open these courses a couple of times a year. It's open now to the end of the month, and you can see the address there. Ads for Authors, Facebook Ads for Authors, Amazon Ads for Authors, and we added TikTok for Authors this year. Why did we add TikTok for Authors? Because TikTok is a platform that you need to be aware of. Social media platforms come and go. Thousands get created every year and never take off. TikTok has blown up, to use the modern expression, which means that there are millions of people on there and there are millions of potential readers for you. So it's something you need to take notice of and potentially use to sell your books. And the great thing about TikTok, the difference between that and Amazon and Facebook ads, is it's free at the moment. It's organic reach. It's incredible organic reach. Completely outperforms all the other social media platforms. You get a few thousand views. If you're really lucky and an amazing thing on Twitter or Instagram, you can get millions of views. And I have personally got millions of views. People in here I'm sure have as well. So at the moment, it will change. In 5 years' time, this will be a different presentation, probably be steering you toward paid ads on TikTok. But for now, it's the early Wild West days. Get on there. So, common question I get a lot, isn't it just dancing girls? And it's a serious question. People say to me, I went on there and I scrolled through for half an hour or maybe even the first week, and all I saw was skipping and lip syncing and dancing girls, and it's not for me. Well, that's because TikTok doesn't know who you are, what you're interested in, so it goes to its original, back to its Musical.ly days when it was it was a music app to start off with. And so it's throwing the stuff that it knows is generally generically popular at you, but it will learn quickly. So part of this presentation is about how to train your algorithm, not your dragon, how to train your algorithm. We're going to show you tips on how to do that. And very quickly, in my case, middle-aged man interested in military aircraft, surprise, surprise, that's all I'm seeing on my TikTok feed now. And whether you're into Western romance or reverse harem or time travel or whatever it is, I promise you, your readers are on there, so it's a case of going through these steps and finding them. Your niche is there. So let's talk about that algorithm. I think it's one of the best most powerful algorithms on social media platforms around the world today. When you go onto TikTok, there are a couple of streams. One is called For You, or the For You page, and the other one is called Following, and they are what they sound like. Following is still algorithmic choice, but you're only going to see posts from people you are following. The For You page is where you cede control to the algorithm, and it shows you what it thinks you're interested in, and that is where you want to be. So if you've got a post that only reaches your followers, that happens on the other social media platforms. On TikTok, you want to be on the For You page. That's where your post is going to get in front of strangers who potentially are going to connect with you and buy your book. Another aspect of the For You page, when you switch over to it and you start scrolling through these posts that the algorithm is showing you, is that it's a really useful way of you understanding what TikTok algorithm thinks of you. Because it's only showing you things it thinks you're interested in, and when you create a post, it is going to take your post and try it out on people who like the same things as you, not your followers, but that's the For You page. So you need to be seeing stuff on your For You page that dovetails, that matches what you're interested in, staying in your lane. So if it's cowboy romance, that's got to be the vast majority of stuff you're seeing on For You page. In my case, I like cricket, I like golf, as well as military aviation, and also I like comedy. And so when I first started this, I was terrible at diluting my account with all that stuff, and that was bad for my views, because when I did get a TikTok that took off, it got put in front of the wrong people. So you can do this exercise when you've got going on TikTok. You can look at your For You page. You can record it like this for a minute or so, or just go through it and make a note and see what the algorithm thinks of you. So this is an example of my For You page, which was messed up earlier this year. We've got a bit of sound there, maybe?
Matter of weeks, the latest.
So this is Formula One. Actually, isn't too bad. I do a little bit of Formula One with military aviation. This is cricket, which is completely useless for me.
Capacity of 50.
This is aviation, which is good. This is a tick in the box.
Several customers, but did not proceed once.
This is me just scrolling up.
So
This doesn't look like it, but it is also aviation. This is golden retriever puppies. This is another author, which is kind of negative side of some of the work I do, that I have lots of authors on my For You page. So do that, have a look at your For You page, and if it's not matching what you're trying to be on TikTok, you need to sort that out. How do you sort that out? Good question. You train your algorithm by doing the following. Use the search function in TikTok, which we'll go into detail in a moment. It's really powerful. Follow similar accounts with the results you find. Watch them. Really important to view on TikTok. So in YouTube, and I can't remember what it was, but what counts as a view on a YouTube video is a percentage of you watching the video. You don't have to watch 100% of it for the algorithm to say, this person has watched this video. And on YouTube, it's ridiculously small. It's like 15% or something. TikTok, it's longer than that. And TikTok videos generally are shorter. You really need to be watching to the end of a video, a post on TikTok, for the algorithm to register that you viewed it. So don't just scroll through and think, oh yeah, it's one of mine, I'll give it a like and move on to the next one. Watch it through, because views are king, more important than almost any other interaction. And let's look at those in more detail then. So search function, it's a really good search function. I have casino voice for you. Air conditioning and smoke. So this is what it looks like. So military aviation is what I want my account to be about. So I type in military aviation. The first thing that happens is you get a bit of autofill. You know how autofill works on Google, and you type in something, it predicts what you're searching for. Take a note of those. They're good search terms. These are actual search terms that people have put in. That's important data and information for you. So that's the first thing to look at, and make a note of that. So if you put in, I keep saying cowboy romance because we just had the panel there. It's my example today. We put in cowboy sweet romance, and it comes up with a load of other search terms related to that, Western and stuff, and some expressions you may not have thought of. That's your first stop. Then you go through to your, once you've hit search, and it comes up with this page, you've got some tabs across the front there, across the top, but you also get just underneath that, others searched for, which again is, it's a bit like if you know the Amazon ads platform, when you run a campaign, you can go in and look at the search terms, not the keywords you put in, but the terms folk put in that led led them to your product page. And that's really important information. This is the same thing. So these are search terms that I may not have thought of that I need to start using for searching and posting and following other accounts. So this is the next one. I've got the wrong glasses on. I think this is users, isn't it? Must be users. Obviously, you're going to want to follow similar accounts. That's one of the very first things that you're going to do in your first few days, first few hours on TikTok. It doesn't put them in order, strangely, but you can see how big the accounts are. So if you're in a very small niche area, you may not get accounts with lots and lots of followers, like millions, so you're going to be following basically all of them. If you're in an area more broadly, like contemporary romance, you're going to get accounts, Colin Hoovers and so on, that are going to have millions of followers. So you want to be perhaps a bit more selective about what you follow rather than follow the ones that have just a few hundred. So you can see how many people are following. And the next one is called hashtags. So hashtags, obviously, which are a social media thing across different platforms, very, very important in TikTok, and they help define subgenres and sub-areas of TikTok. And you can see there, again, it gives you some figures. They're not in order. Some of those hashtags have a few hundred views, and some of them have millions of views. So that's really good. Just look at that for a second. That's a really good search function in TikTok. And what happens mostly is that somebody searches on something, and the very top thing they get before those others search for in that second panel is a couple of actual posts. So 99% of people are just going to find posts they want to watch on military aviation in this case, or basketball, whatever it is, and start watching them. They're going to ignore the rest of this information, but you're not. So you're going to look at that other information because that's really useful to you in finding other accounts to follow and choosing hashtags to use and themes, etc. So once you've started following some accounts, the next step for you is to interact with them. There are broadly two forms of interaction. You get the standard ones, which you'll get on all social media platforms. So view them, and remember what I said, view them to the end. Like them, follow those accounts. You can comment on them. You can forward them. You can actually save some. If people have allowed it, you can save a TikTok post and you can post it elsewhere. And these are all register as interactions with that post for the algorithm. Remember, you're doing this because you're telling the algorithm, this is what I like. And the people who follow me, this is what they want to see. But TikTok has two other unique types of interaction, and they are called Duet and Stitch. So Duet is when you take an existing post and you appear alongside it. And you can have the original sound or your sound, you can choose, and you basically react to what the other post is doing or saying. Stitch is similar, but it's linear, so the first post runs and you take over from that first post. And you will find people who are good at TikTok, they will create posts specifically for people to duet and stitch. So it's great for you to duet and stitch other posts, early on particularly, because the algorithm likes it, thinks you're an active user, and TikTok favors duets and stitches because it's a TikTok thing, whereas follow and comment is on every platform. But even better than you duetting and stitching someone is someone doing that to you. So another thing you could start to think about is asking a question like, what book have you read now? And people might stitch that, or something even more imaginative than that. And I think another great thing about duets is that if you're not creative, and I don't count myself as a creative person, what happened there? Let me just go back to my presentation. Oh my goodness, it's actually crashed, I think. Sorry about this. I'm not a creative person, but the great thing about, oh my God, we have such complicated lives in SPF. Where is this? Self-publishing, it's presentations. Can anyone see presentations? There we go, thank you. Crowdsourcing this, 20Books Vegas 2022. There we go. I don't know why that crashed. You can look creative using other people's creativity, which is a great thing. Let me do presenter view. And now I think I can go across. Where were we? We're about to do a duet demo. Here we go. So here, I'm going to show you somebody who posted something hoping other people would duet. She's a very good poster. She's based in LA. She actually is not particularly my area, but I noticed other authors using this particular post, and I did one myself. So you see the original one she posted, and then one that I took over.
Can't believe you got us into trouble. Can't believe you got us into trouble.
Sir, why you made that look so difficult? Grab. That easy. I may not be as pretty as you, but at least I can rip a damn shirt.
That is disgusting. Give it to me now.
Okay, some examples of duets, and actually the second one with Jane Ryland was a duet and a stitch. If you notice, the one she was reacting to, somebody had already stitched that video. Why are you making that look so hard? So you can see Jane didn't do much, I didn't do too much there, but you kind of look creative. And this is one key thing about getting into TikTok and getting views and getting results from it, is you need to get into the TikTok way of doing things. So I do see some posts from authors who get going and they talk about their books and stuff, and I think, well, is anybody else doing that? When you look around at TikTok, are they the things that are being disseminated and getting lots of views? No, but that stuff is. So get into the culture, that's the word I'm looking for, the culture of TikTok. And these are easy ways to doing it, riding on the coattails of somebody else's creativity. So we call them trends, I guess, in TikTok language, and these trends, they rise and fall quickly. The algorithm loves trends, and those of us who are on TikTok, what happens now, and I know a few of you will have this, your friends will say, oh, have a look at this. I saw this on Facebook stories, and they say, yeah, well, I saw that 2 weeks ago on TikTok, because TikTok is now the originator of all this stuff. And so again, the algorithm loves trends. They often revolve around sound, people taking the sound and lip syncing, but the algorithm will start to promote you much more quickly and more widely. It's not a guarantee if you're using the trends and jumping on them. So let's have a look at one. This one's been and gone now, but it was huge at the time.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn! A big corn that knobs, it has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn!
So everybody did this.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn! A big corn that knobs, it has the juice. For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn! A big corn that knobs, it has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's corn! I can tell you all about.
You get the idea. So for that week, anyone who was on TikTok, we had this endlessly, everyone doing it. Some people did it well, some people did it badly like me, but you will get more views just for the fact that the algorithm loves this. TikTok loves these trends. It's what it's all about. And you'll see how important sounds are in TikTok. So TikTok as a platform has actually created a lot of the hits you hear in the charts today. And all this is happening on this platform. It's not happening anymore on Facebook. I mean, Facebook, we know, is in a little bit of trouble at the moment, reinventing itself. But TikTok is definitely the place to be. In fact, a quick story. There was a song, and I can't remember who the artist was, Gail. I think it actually, A, B, C, D, E, F, U. Do you remember that song? It's in the charts. Okay, so that came from TikTok. Not only did TikTok listeners or viewers make it a hit because they first started buying it, like Colin Hoover's books and Lucy Score and so on, but actually there was the artist, Gail, was strumming her guitar on a live stream on TikTok and said to her followers, anyone got any ideas for songs? And someone said, why don't you try using the alphabets like Sesame Street? And she goes, she started playing with it, came up with the song on that live. And of course, they all felt massively invested in this, and that's propelled Gail and that song to a global super hit. Interestingly, somebody, one of the American newspapers, did a little investigation on it because they wanted to find the person who suggested it and say, how do you feel about that? And that person turned out to be a bit shy, a bit reticent to talk about it. A little bit more digging, the person who came up with the comment in the live worked for the record company that Gail was signed to. So this is not, not a tale of dastardly deeds. It's a tale of how important big business takes TikTok at the moment. They planted that. The song was already written, probably recorded. But that's how powerful TikTok is to these big organizations. And Hollywood is the same. So a sound, again, it's a bit like cheating the algorithm, using a sound that's doing the rounds. This is my first big blow-up hit. I have to do a little bit of background. It's a bit boring. But in January, so I do military aviation. That's what I write my books on. In January, weeks before Ukraine invasion happened, things started happening on the military front that us geeks who watch radar, Flight 24 and so on, and I noticed this spy plane from about 20 miles away from where I live, took off, flew to Ukraine, which is very unusual at that point, flew back to Mildenhall, and landed. And I was looking at it, so I did a very quick throwaway, that's interesting, on TikTok. But I used a trending sound. So I'll show you the kind of meaningless post.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
Okay, 1.2 million views that got. That went around the world. It was reposted and duetted mainly by conspiracy theorists in Montana, but nonetheless, it really took off. And I think I quite liked that clip that was doing the rounds, it was trending, and I used it for that reason early on. And if you actually pressed on the clip, so if you hear a bit of music you like, you click on the sound at the bottom of it on the post, it takes you to that second page there, which gives you an option to use it. And you can also see all the other posts that have used it. I was number 2 in that list of people who'd used it at that point. So, it wasn't a fantastically brilliant post, but it dovetailed, I keep using that word, it matched what the algorithm likes, which is a trending sound. You can, I'm told, I've never done this, feels like cheating, you can take a trending sound, if it's not going to match what you're doing, and put the volume all the way down, so it's still attached to the post and the algorithm gets cheated, apparently, and will give you a little boost. Whether that works or not, I don't know, but I've been told it does. Okay, just on sound, that had a bit of music on it, and I talked about Gale's A, B, C, D, E, F, U, so I do have to do a little bit of a legal warning here on this front. So copyright music, this is a bit of a gray area, and you do have to make your own decision on what you're going to do here. If you want to use copyrighted music, so Taylor Swift, which does there's a lot of it on there, you can't use it commercially. If you're using it commercially, you need a business account on TikTok, and businesses won't have access to that type of music. They have a different range of music, more limited range of music. What counts as commercial use? Who the hell knows is the answer to that, and you'll get a different answer from a different lawyer. We're artists, like a sculptor saying, this is my sculpture, this is my book. Are you overtly selling it? You haven't got a link there. It's a very gray area. Some people are not happy with that, and they don't want the risk of Universal Music coming after, or Warner Brothers, whatever, coming after them, saying you're riding on Taylor Swift's popularity to sell your book. Other people are more relaxed and happy about it. I am as well. So you do have to be aware of that. But if you're risk averse on that front, I would recommend you start a business account, and that means you'll only be using music that's been cleared for use in commercial terms, but it will be more limited. If you're going to run ads, by the way, on TikTok, and we don't at the moment recommend it, you need a business account. Okay, I'm going to have a first case study of someone who has made all this work for them. His name is Adam Beswick. He is a fellow Brit. He comes from the north of England, so you might not be able to understand everything he says. He has been brilliant. We did a sort of TikTok challenge, I think in January, earlier this year, SPF, where we set people 5 days to get themselves established on TikTok. We'll do it again soon. It was a really good thing for everyone to do at the same time, hold each other's hands. Adam, do you want to come up? So Adam did that. Big round of applause for Adam. My other 2 case studies in a moment are both romance, and romance is obviously very big. Spicy romance in particular, particularly because I think some spicy romance authors have limited advertising opportunities elsewhere, so they've put all their time into TikTok. But everybody's audience is there, believe me. Military aviation is there. Adam, you write fantasy, sort of fairy tale.
Dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Yep. Okay.
Yes, you write dark fantasy, and just tell us what difference has TikTok made to your career?
It's been life-changing. So I joined the TikTok challenge in January. By the end of January, I'd made £100 with my first book in my new dark fantasy series. And for the last 3 months, I've hit 5 figures. So, and that is all through TikTok. I'm currently not running any adverts. The only thing I am running is a £10 a day reader magnet.
Absolutely fantastic. And for free, obviously, organic reach. And what does your TikTok day look like? How much time and effort do you put into it?
About 10 minutes making videos. I do 2 posts a day, one around lunchtime, one in the evening between 7 and 9. And I film them in about 15 minutes in the morning while my daughter's getting ready for school. So sometimes if I'm talking on a TikTok, you can hear her singing and dancing upstairs while she's getting ready.
Fantastic. Adam, thank you very much indeed. So hopefully the two takeaways from Adam is that this stuff works and your audience is there, because dark fantasy is not the biggest genre in the world, is it? And we're going to show your breakout hit. You just stay, actually, you can stay here for this.
Okay, thank you.
With the snare and the bass, swear in the face, this fucking world better prepare to get laced because they're gonna taste my...
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Okay, so just before you go, and just tell us about that post. So you do a lot of posting, and that looks pretty, to me, looks a bit like a few other posts you did, but it blew up, right?
Yeah. So that post I actually filmed in about 10 minutes before I started work that day. I'd had the idea for a while, and there was another user in our TikTok group that had used the sound. She'd posted that she'd had some success with it. And I thought, I'll try the sound again. I'd thought about using the sound in the past, but kind of talked myself out of it, thinking it was a bit something I wouldn't be able to film. And I actually found the draft of the original post where I had filmed it. It turned out I posted it to my private files, and that was literally the day I started using TikTok.
Oh, so it's a really early one.
Yeah, so who knows what would have happened if I'd have posted that video 8 months earlier.
Anyway, you're going great guns. So Adam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Adam exists in a world called BookTok, which is a sub-genre, subculture within TikTok itself. You get a lot of these hashtags. So if you're into, I don't know, geocaching, there'll be a hash geocaching, and they're all big. So BookTok is, basically a hashtag, as all these things work, but it's a place where readers and authors find each other. It is very large and very powerful. It's propelled many authors to big success. So Colleen Hoover and Lucy Score are two ones that I can immediately tell you about, top of my head, but there are countless others who've hit #1 in the store. They're great writers, and I love Lucy. I know her, she's a good friend of mine, fantastic writer, but people picking up her book on TikTok have been the difference. You don't necessarily need to aim for that. You can aim for it, that's fine. A few people are going to get that, but you can have very good success just with a few hundred views. You don't need to go viral to have that success. In fact, Jane Ryland reckons she makes a sale for every 250 views. So if she's getting a couple of thousand views a day by posting 3 or 4 times, she's turning over a career for herself. It is an obvious choice for the main genres. So romance, obviously, and dark fantasy, sci-fi. In my case, military aviation. You can do TikTok in another way, and I actually do. I don't do BookTok very much. I do military aviation. I have a much bigger audience, and a small part of that audience buys my book. When you're doing BookTok, most of your audience should be people potentially who will buy your books. There's slightly different ways of doing it. I'm not going to talk about the way I do it, because it's much better, I think, you stick with BookTok and the genres. So BookTok, I had a look at the hashtag. I've done this presentation 3 times, and each time I update this slide, the number of times that hashtag has been used goes up by about 10 billion. So it's currently 88.6 billion uses on BookTok, to give you an idea of how big this is and how many people are on there using this. It's a huge subculture. You can be a part of it. First things first, though, what am I going to say about your book and your cover and your blurb before you're going to start promoting it on TikTok? They've got to be on point. They've got to dovetail. So your cover has to scream cowboy romance. Your blurb has to say cowboy romance in a different way in 5 different lines. And your content has to deliver what those 2 have provided. Otherwise, nothing you do on TikTok or Facebook advertising is going to help you. And of course, your TikTok posts must dovetail. There's that word again. It's up there. They must match that as well. So they've got to be part of this, like your Facebook advert has to match through. So if you don't think that's happening, or you're not seeing the sales, even though you're getting views, you might want to go back to those courses I talked about at the beginning and make sure that that stuff is on point. And honestly, this is a slight sidetrack. I don't think it's really about the quality of books. It's about matching our expectations. It's much more important And I know, Scott Paul, who's no longer with us, sadly, but he produced some books that were full of typos, but they were good stories, and he marketed them exactly like the content delivered, sort of sci-fi space opera, and he had huge success. He sorted out all the typos and stuff later, but make sure everything matches first, and TikTok can be the platform for you. So it is just a hashtag, and you'll see they denote subcultures and other platforms as well. You will get genre talk hashtags beneath that, so thriller talk, romance talk, etc. Use both when you post in your description. And use the power of the algorithm to find readers by following tropes carefully. What do I mean by that? So if you're going to have a BookTok account, what does that mean? You could just use the hashtag BookTok in a post. It's more than that. It's looking and feeling like a BookTok poster. So let's have a look at those tropes. A bookcase in the background. You don't necessarily have to have a bookcase, but most BookTokers do have a bookcase in the background. And it's a bit like a cover. You know, people glance at a cover. In that first couple of seconds, it's got to tell people, that reader, this is the type of thing you like. Same thing on TikTok. It's a very fast environment. People maybe have a second to glance at it and think, this is something I'm going to watch and be interested in. So make it look like it is, or what it is. If you're into romance talk, they wear tiaras and crowns a lot. I don't know why, but it's a thing that's just started on TikTok, and it's very common for romance talkers. So you can get a tiara for $5 off Amazon. And I think they even send each other these tiaras and crowns. Book in hand. So TikTok shifts physical books much more. In fact, it's made me think that's one of the reasons authors are having a lot of success on TikTok is it's a different audience from the one we're trawling all the time with our Facebook ads, because they do buy physical books a lot. So have a physical book in your hand. Also, it's a great prop, and even if you don't do print on demand, now's the time to think about doing print on demand and at least getting a copy that you can hold for your TikToks. Page flips, which is a very simple, easy post to do. One of the first ones you can do when you get going. You basically flip through the book. You have a close-up of the camera. The camera's just watching the page flip, and you have some text going up. So people, the metaphor is that they can see this is what's in the book, and you can just have a scene, just some quotes from the book, something that's going to tease the content. Character roleplay, something else that's very big on BookTok, and I know we have character roleplay day today, because a few people looking fabulous today. That works really well on TikTok, and some people do, maybe every other post they'll sit there and batch record a load of stuff in character, and that works really well. So these are all tropes that do, beyond you just using the hashtag, signal to people that you are in the BookTok subculture. So treat your posts like a book cover. They should immediately signal what it is that you're doing. I don't know how long people, on average, look at a post on TikTok before deciding whether to scroll on or not. I suspect it's less than a second or about a second. So don't spend the first 3 seconds of your post going, right, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk to you, let me start again. I'm going to talk to you today, but that's gone. You are finished at that point. They've moved on. So you can use the edit button. The edit button is your friend. And we're not going to go into too much granular detail about how to create the post. Obviously, in this session, we have a course for that, if you want that. Use trends as much as possible. We've seen how powerful it was for me. Short, sharp, make sure the title and author are present and clear. So you saw Adam's post there. He set up quite an intriguing thing that people wanted to watch, and then bang, you've got the book cover very front and center. Make sure that's always the case. So let's have a look at some BookTok accounts. Picked these up reasonably randomly from the ones I follow or pop up on my For You page. So I think the three in the middle, that's Lucy Score. That is Caroline Peckham, who writes dark romance with her sister Suzanne Valenti, and that is Jane Ryder. So they are three authors, but actually those other three on there, they are BookTokers in the more traditional sense that they are book reviewers, and they love reading and they talk about your books, and they're really important because they're the people. Colleen Hoover's has quite a funny TikTok account, but I don't think it's a brilliant TikTok account for promoting her books. Her books are promoted by these people. Because she's there and in the subculture, that obviously helps. And Suzanne, Lucy had a huge blow up this year with a book called Things We Never Got Over, which hit #1 it's been in the top 5 of the store on and off most of the year, and it's hit #1 several times. Caroline and Suzanne are absolutely killing it, and they should be here, but they're currently trying to write books 8 and 9 of their Zodiac Academy series, which BookTok love and adore. That's propelled them to big success. And Jane Rylan is not a millionaire. I don't know if Jane's here, I don't think she is, but she is somebody who makes a living, has quit her job as a full-time author, just doing TikTok. So she's the one who does like a sale over 250 views. You don't need to be a big superstar to start moving the needle, as they say, on TikTok. So this is Jane, actually. She's somebody you should have a look at, particularly if you're into romance. She's somebody who did not want to do TikTok to start off with, and she couldn't imagine herself talking to camera. So if you go back far enough in her posts, you'll see that she has just the book cover and page flips. And she started doing stuff more and more, and she's such a natural at it now. So if you say to me, I could never be in front of camera, I'll say, well, that was where Jane was. And now she does it without thinking about it several times a day. In fact, Adam, you probably might even be the same. You probably didn't imagine yourself being a pin-up star on TikTok, and here you are every day. Excuse me, sorry. Let's have a quick look at Jane's.
Jagger. You know what I'm thinking?
Put that lighter down. Now, you think nasty.
There's another author called Leela Dubois. Some of you might know Jane and Leela are very close together, and they actually did our TikTok for Authors course. They authored it, and Leela is another account you should follow. So let's get into some practical tips to finish off with in my last 5 minutes or so. Top tips to build your TikTok platform. Getting started, build an audience and don't expect instant results. Practice and post regularly, multiple times a day at first. People always ask, how many times a day should I post? I mean, a lot to start off with, 3 or 4 if you can. 2 things happen then. One is the algorithm wakes up to you and starts working for you as long as you're doing the right thing, you're on point, all the stuff we talked about earlier. Secondly, you get used to doing it, so it stops becoming such a big deal, stops becoming so difficult and time-consuming to do. You'll be doing them very quickly and easily after a while. Don't fixate on virality. In BookTok, you do not need to go viral for success. 1,000 followers and similar can lead you to sales. So, quick recap. Follow BookTokers, authors, bookshops, reviewers, engage, watch, like, reply, duet, and stitch, all the things you should be doing in your first few weeks on TikTok. And choose a style and stick to it. So this is Jane's page. Look how similar all her posts look. This is Amy Dawes, who's brilliant, very funny on TikTok. And again, she has a style. You immediately know what it is. It's like a brand. That's how it works, I guess. This is Caroline Peckham, who I mentioned earlier. This is a guy I follow who talks about military matters, military matters Ukraine a lot, and even he is very recognizable, wears the same t-shirt every time he posts, so this guy knows how TikTok works. Fit into TikTok culture. So I mentioned that earlier. It's an odd thing, and I think it's a good thing, that TikTok actually rewards sincerity and spontaneity, what you might call sort of poorly produced stuff, and it doesn't particularly reward polished stuff. So don't post your professionally made video trailer on TikTok, because it ain't going to work there. This is an example. I went to Nink earlier this year, and when I was sitting at the airport, I don't know if you fly internationally enough to America, you get this thing called SSS on your boarding card. It basically means you've been randomly selected for enhanced security, which sounds more painful than it is. And I was sitting in the lounge with Mark and John next to me, and I just recorded. I had to speak quietly because it was in his lounge. And I put a green screen on. I just recorded something about that ticket. So it was really thorough, and it looked rubbish, and I was half asleep. Then when I got to Nink, I got the chance to do a really proper TikTok with using all my video production skills that I got in the BBC about us flying. So I'm going to show you these 2 posts. Guess whose lucky day it is? I'm at Heathrow Airport and flying to the US, to Chicago, in fact. And if you ever see this on your boarding pass, SSS, it means you've been randomly pre-selected for enhanced security. So that's what can you expect. When you get to the gate, your name will be called, you'll be taken downstairs out of the queue, and not allowed to board. Your companions, they have to get on the plane as normal, they're not allowed to come with you, and they'll basically do like a sniff test using the machine with whatever you're carrying on you. Don't worry, no latex gloves are involved. And it is apparently random, although this is the second time it's happened to me this year. I think they don't trust me over there.
That is
Okay, guess which post did better? Well, here's the surprising thing, it wasn't close. So this is a good thing, and I think, honestly, this is driven by the kids. My daughter's 19. They've reacted against the Instagram life thing. They all know it's bullshit, right? Everyone's looking absolutely beautiful and polished and smiling, and all these mental health issues behind the background. They've woken up to that, and I think TikTok is, to an extent, a reaction to that. It's much more just sincere, this is who I am, and it seems to be a culture that rewards that. This is what I think, this is what I'm talking about. So don't worry if you don't have video production skills. I've got 1 minute 53 left. I've got a surprise for you here. So you don't have to worry too much about that. This is a culture that rewards sincerity. Okay, so I have a couple of final things to say. One is, this is 3 different ways of saying stay on target. Because the number one thing that will get you, advance you on TikTok and get you the views you need to sell books is you just keep hammering away at the same thing over and over again. Look at Adam's account. Look at how many posts he does that look very similar. They're very quick and easy to do, and hear about the success he's having with that. So that is, doing 1 or 2 posts or trying it for a week and saying, well, it's not working for me. Of course, you've got to put some graft in, establish your brand, stay similar, match the tropes, use trends, all the stuff we talked about today. Okay, finally, I'm going to give you my last minute as a special treat from me for coming to my session with all the choice you've got. I'm going to give you a story idea that's going to make you $1 million. Okay, this is a fantastic Hallmark-like story idea. Any one of you could write. You could all write it. Change the names. No one will notice. And that's going to be my last post today, just for coming to this session.
First day of fall, you know what that means?
Oh no.
So this woman is a private equity agent in the big city.
Okay.
And her boss asked her to visit a cider mill upstate so her company can buy and flip it.
Work travel.
She's always been a city girl and does not want to spend the weekend around mud and dirt.
I hope she brings the proper footwear.
But then she arrives and sees the owner chopping wood.
Uh-oh.
He's 6'4" and wears perfectly fitting jeans and works in the orchard all day so his forearms are bulging. And she slips in the mud, so they have to go inside to get her cleaned up, and they have immediate chemistry.
Thank you, bad footwear.
And her rental car is also stuck in the mud, so he offers for her to stay in the guest suite for the night.
Thank you, two-wheel drive.
And they stay up all night drinking cider and laughing.
Yes!
And they fall in love.
There's no way anything can go wrong.
And while they're chatting, he reveals that it was always his mom's dream to run a cider mill, but she died before it could happen, so he keeps her dream alive by running it himself.
Oh my god.
And just before bed, her boss calls her and threatens to fire her if she doesn't complete the transactions.
She can't.
So the next morning, she comes down to breakfast, and he's made a huge homemade spread.
Of course.
She pulls out a binder and tells him what she's really there to do.
No!
He's devastated, thinks that he failed his mom while she opens the binder. But inside the binder, there's no contract, and instead it's a copy of the town's zoning laws.
What?
It turns out she stayed up all night researching and found a tiny loophole that prevents her firm from taking the farm.
Yes!
Her boss is furious and threatens to fire her, but instead she quits so they can run the farm together. And they fall in love again.
Twice?
And they rescue a pup. I was gonna ask. It's called Will You Be Mine?
Okay. TikTok is a really fun environment if you're in the right part of it and you set the algorithm to reflect what you think of life. It's a good place to be. I hope I'm a bit of an evangelist for it as well, but giving you some practical tips to get going. And we'll see you at the drinks if you want to come later in Silver and answer your questions.